Moving on to Venusaur. Now, this is something that I've already seen all day today. I saw these Venusaurs still busting out the Giga Drain, still busting out the Petal Dance, and I was like, hold on, man. This didn't get nerfed that much. It really doesn't feel like it was nerfed much. It's still gonna be OP in my opinion, just because it was so broken before. Let's get into the changes. Yo, you're watching Shurko, we're back with some more Pokemon Unite, and in this video we will be checking out the brand new patch, guys. Unite-db.com actually uploaded patch notes with the precise numbers. So we will finally find out what actually changed for this patch, and I will go through all the changes with you guys. I will be giving you my master rank player rundown of what I think are the biggest winners on this patch, which Pokemon are gonna be actually good with the buffs, and which Pokemon are gonna be nerfed with those nerfs and will maybe drop down a couple ranks in the tier lists. Now, before we get into this, apparently Unite-db.com, I will link these patch notes in the comment section below in a pinned comment, so check it out. Check some of the ads on the website, you know, so they make their money because they deserve it with the work they're putting in here. But also, as you can see, special thank you to all the contributors in the MathCord Discord server. There apparently is a Discord server where lots of people always test all these changes as soon as the patch drops, because as you guys know, Teamy are just a bunch of clowns, man. They give us these patch notes that are too vague. Thunder of Pikachu, more damage, stuff like that. They don't actually tell us the numbers, and lots of volunteers are testing these, so make sure to check out that Discord server as well. But yeah, let's get right into this, guys. Again, I will be dissecting this. I will be giving you my opinion, giving you my thoughts on what is gonna be the strong meta this patch. And we start with that Pikachu again. No more of that increased thunder damage. Now we actually have the numbers and we have the ratios. As you can see, thunder, the ratio, the special attack ratio went from 18% to 20%, and the base damage from 180 to 210. Now this seems really low at first. However, keep in mind that thunder hits multiple times. It's a damage over time effect on that AoE, so this will hit multiple times for this increased damage now as well. Seems like a pretty decent buff from the first impression here. I've seen some Pikachus use thunder as well already in my games that I played today, so definitely seems like this will be a pretty decently noticeable change. Moving on to the Volt Tackle buff. Now this seems like it's gonna be a little bit less noticeable, although keep in mind that Volt Tackle also hits a couple times, but that ratio is going from 9 to 13% special attack, which is still a very low ratio right there. Per level, you will be dealing 1 more damage per Volt Tackle attack, and the base damage is also going up by 40. So overall, I feel like the Thunder change seems pretty good, but in comparison to the Thunderbolt, I think Volt Tackle will still pale, because, yeah, Thunderbolt is an AoE stun, guys. It has a decent amount of burst damage attached to it, but I think Thunder might become a very viable choice next to the Electro Ball. We'll have to see, time will tell. I will test this change as well. And I forgot to sell out, because if you want to see me play these changes out on that Pikachu very soon, then make sure to subscribe, ring the notification bell so you don't miss any further Pokemon Unite content on this channel, guys. Moving on to the Slowbro. Now that is a big buff, and it honestly needed one. Amnesia. Lots of people use telekinesis over Amnesia. For the most part, I agree. However, Amnesia can be very strong as well. Telekinesis is that stun and it pulls people to you as well. Really, really strong move if you're able to hit it. But Amnesia has that healing, man, and it really makes you completely undying. Okay, I love it so much. It gives you so many resistances as well. And now they're going to be lowering the cooldown on that by a whopping 4 seconds, which is insane. That is pretty much 25% lowered basically, and they will also increase the healing on it. So from 12.5% times 3, it will go to 22.5% times 3. Now that is crazy. That is completely... Amnesia Slowbro don't even bother attacking it anymore unless you're a Cinderace with lots of basic attack damage from a safe distance. It's going to be very difficult to take down this Slowbro, so that's a great buff. I think Slowbro is going to be in a much better position, which it really needed. Don't be afraid of this. Slowbro isn't going to be running around and be super OP and annoying. It's just not going to die anymore. You know, it's still going to have weaknesses. It's still going to have that weak early game laning phase. And yeah, definitely much needed. It wasn't that strong to begin with. Now this should feel pretty good to play with the Amnesia. Moving on to Gengar. Now Gengar, again, super vague. They literally said, Team E said, stats increased or like stats buffed. That's all they said about Gengar. But I already made a Gengar video, guys. Check that out if you haven't yet. And in that, I show that it has some lifesteal now. Okay, it has some lifesteal whenever it deals special attack damage. And that's exactly what this Spell Vamp is. I believe League of Legends calls it Spell Vamp. Basically, it means that whenever you deal damage to the enemies with your moves, which all deal special attack damage, I think your charged basic attack counts as well under this, because I noticed it heals me and it also deals special attack damage, so it would make sense. You will heal for 12.5% of the damage dealt starting at level 5, which is really weird, but that's how it works. Starting at level 5, no matter what you take, Shadow Ball or that Sludge Bomb, no matter what build you're going for, you will have some nice lifesteal in your kit, and it feels amazing for that Gengar. I thought they'd increase the damage as well. Apparently not. Apparently I was seeing things, I was saying how I feel like I'm dealing more damage, but apparently not. It's just the lifesteal, but it really helps you stay healthy in that jungle center position during those ganks as well. And yeah, check out the video, guys, that I made. It really showcases it well. We survive so many clutch situations. Gengar, much better on this patch. Many people considered it to be a D tier. I would have considered it to be a C tier, honestly. Before this patch, I think we can notch it, we can put it up a notch to that B tier. I'm not sure if it's going to reach the A tier though. Yeah, Spell Vamp, very nice, but not sure if that's going to be enough to bring it all the way up. Now Blastoise. This guy needed a fat nerf. Not sure if this is too fat. I have to try it still, but this seems crazy, okay? So I'm not going to read through all of these, but you can see the numbers are crazy. I'm trying to keep this video as concise as possible because I know a lot of people get bored by these in-depth videos. It is what it is. So yeah, you can check out these changes yourself. You can read them yourself. But as you can see, the base damage on Hydro Pump is dropping. The per level scaling is dropping. The ratio is dropping. And the increased damage that it deals when you're rapid spinning, excuse me, is also dropping. So huge nerf to the Hydro Pump. Again, very well deserved. It had so much burst. Then again, the Hydro Pump Plus getting a similar nerf as well. Then we have the Water Spout having a reduced cooldown by 1.5 seconds, which is very, very nice. But I don't think that's going to be buffing that move too much, because I feel like the move deals not enough damage when you're using it in that AoE form, you know? When you're using it with Rapid Spin, then it becomes very nice. But that AoE needs a little bit more of damage added to it, in my opinion. Just lowering the cooldown won't do much, because usually you use it at the start of a fight, you use the Rapid Spin, you go in, Water Spouting during the Rapid Spin, and as soon as you use the Rapid Spin, it resets the cooldown on Water Spout anyway. So again, in my opinion, this doesn't do that much. And then we have a huge Unite move nerf as well. The ratio is going down by a lot, the special attack ratio. So the wizard build that I like to run is not going to be as good anymore, unfortunately, but also the base. And this is very important, because this, we can all agree, Unite move of Blastoise did way too much damage, right? Absolutely insane. Even if you had full tank held items, and they are nerfing it by quite a bit here, from 1,700 to roughly 1400, so 1,400. So more, pretty much 350 taken away from that on that damage, which is pretty much a little bit less, or pretty much exactly 20% of the damage reduced. So that is very, very nice in my opinion. Again, might be too much along with the Hydro Pump nerfs. We'll have to test it out and see. Moving on, but keep in mind, Blastoise was a super strong A tier. It's probably gonna still be at least a B tier, you know? Don't worry about it, it's still gonna be viable if you're a Blastoise main. Moving on to Venusaur. Now this is something that I've already seen all day today. I saw these Venusaurs still busting out the Giga Drain, still busting out the Petal Dance, and I was like, hold on, man. This didn't get nerfed that much. It really doesn't feel like it was nerfed much. And it truly wasn't. It's still gonna be insanely strong. It's still gonna be OP in my opinion, just because it was so broken before. Let's get into the changes. Giga Drain. Damage resistance. That was the big thing. Whenever you use Giga Drain, you got damage resistance, so damage reduction. So whenever the enemies did damage to you, you would take 40% less, which is absolutely mental for a ranged attacker like Venusaur. Usually tanks have these kind of buffs onto them. And they're reducing that from 40% to 35%. Now this used to be 25% before the buff, okay? So it's still gonna be 10% more than before the buff. And before the buff, it was pretty a weak build, yes, but now it is completely busted, so just 5% reduction I don't think is gonna be enough. The rest won't matter as much. The ratio on special attack for healing is going down, the per level healing and the base healing is going down on Giga Drain, which isn't gonna change that much. You will heal a little bit less, it will be easier to take you down, but you will still have crazy damage resistance, you will still be an insane raid boss, and it will still be one of, if not the best Pokemon in the entire game. Yeah, crazy. Giga Drain plus also getting same treatment here. Petal Dance not nerfed, which really it doesn't need a nerf. But yeah, Giga Drain needed a bigger nerf. Then we have the Solar Beam buff. I already tried this in one of my games. It feels like it does a little bit more. Basically what they buffed is max HP tick. 1% enemy max HP to 1.5% enemy max HP. Now keep in mind, the Solar Beam has multiple instances that it hits, okay? It doesn't just have one huge burst, so they didn't just raise the damage by 0.5% of the enemy max health. It hits like 3 or 4 times, you know, it does like a drrr, you know? It does like a drill, you know what I mean? No? Anyway, trying to explain it, but yeah, it deals a couple times of damage, which means this will be raised a couple of times, which is basically, they felt like Solar Beam is already very powerful against squishy Pokemon. You will completely blast them, half health per Solar Beam late game on that Pikachu, on that Cinderace, on that Ninetales. Super nice move, but against tanks, it struggles a little bit because they're much tankier, and that's exactly what they're raising here. So I'm a huge fan of that. Great change. Didn't really need it. I think Solar Beam was already really strong, but I don't think this is going to add insanely much. It's going to make it a little bit nicer. But yeah, again, Giga Drain needs a bigger nerf. Still going to be an insane Pokemon, in my opinion. Try it out yourself, guys. Probably still free ranking points if you want to reach Master. You have 18 days left for the season. Moving on to Lucario. Now, this was... I was hoping this would be a huge buff, huge nerf. Lucario, way too broken as well before the patch. I saw some Lucarios today. I didn't feel like there was a big difference, and lo and behold, there isn't that big of a difference. Who would have thought? Attack stat was nerfed from 165 at level 1 to 160, so 5 at level 1, then 175 to 175 at level 2. At level 3, we have 186 to 180, so 6. And then it scales all the way. The higher level you get, the more attack stat compared to before the patch you will lose. And a maximum level, it will be 11. 11 attack is not much at all. It is 1 stack of the attack weight, even less. Yeah, no, that is not enough, guys. That is just not going to be enough. One good nerf is going to be the Steadfast. The passive of his of the Lucario was nerfed from 30-second cooldown to 60-second cooldown. So whenever you see Lucario, you drop it low and it gets that shield. That is the passive of Lucario. Whenever it drops low, it gets a nice shield. and it gets bonus resistances as well, I believe, or just damage reduction, so it gets really tough to take down. And now this is not going to happen every 30 seconds, which is pretty much every time it dropped low. Now you will have to, when you're playing against a Lucario, if you see you pop the shield of that passive, you know for the next minute it's gonna be much squishier than usual. So that's a good thing that you can abuse against Lucario players. And yeah, that is a good nerf here. I like that. This, not enough in my opinion, but yeah, nah, just not enough, guys. Still gonna be a very strong Pokemon. Then they have something very complicated with Power Up Punch. I believe what this means is just that it deals a little bit less damage. So the ratio is a little bit higher, but the base is a little bit lower. So what that means is the move no longer increases attack and instead changes its ratio to full charge. So again, I'm not quite sure what this means, but if we just look at these max charge changes here, it deals like 1 less damage, but the AD ratio, the attack ratio is a little bit higher. So I don't think this will change a lot. I think this is like a very, very detailed thing, which again, huge shout out to the people of the math court of the Discord server that they're referencing here for figuring these things out, man. Crazy, really, really crazy. They're putting in the time for us. And yeah, very, very noble once again. So huge shout out to them. Then let's move on. So again, Lucario still very strong. Probably still S tier. Garchomp got some nice buffs. They're saying here this time they seem significant, so that's really nice to hear. They, judging by the numbers, they really seem significant. Seems like a great Garchomp buff. Stats: attack speed buffed from 110% scaling up to 124% at max level, I believe, to 111% to 147% attack speed, which is crazy. That's really a lot of bonus attack speed. You will be able, especially with that passive fully stacked up, you will be dismantling people in the late game, so that seems really cool. Along with that, they also buffed the Dragon Rush, so I do think the best build will now be Dragon Rush and Earthquake, as opposed to before the patch, where it was Earthquake and Dig, at least according to probably the best Garchomp in North America, Yomus. Check him out. Yeah, he always used Dig and Earthquake. Now I believe Dragon Rush. Look at this buff, guys. 74% attack ratio to 121%. So almost doubled, not really, but you know, a lot added. Per level, 3 scaling to 8. And then also a base increase of 60. So absolutely mental, man. They pretty much buffed this damage by like 50% all across the board. Crazy, crazy buff, man. Should be a really strong move now. Keep in mind, before this buff, it really did almost 0 damage. So, you know, it definitely needed this buff. So I'm a huge fan of Garchomp, and I'm glad that it got buffed. I think this will improve it. Keep in mind, it was the worst Pokemon in the game before this patch. We'll see if that will change. Most likely it will. But it's probably still not going to be anywhere close to an A rating, even a B rating, probably not. So, hey, just keep that in mind, guys. However, still very nice for the Garchomp mains. Now, the rest of this is just going to be... the rest of the Pokemon changes are just bug fixes, so I will skip right ahead over them. You can check them out. Again, link is in the description. We have some nice Air Max pluses and Nike Air Max. Not bad, man. You know, I don't have ad block enabled, neither should you, because this website deserves some money. Just like I deserve money from the YouTube views, right? You disable ad block? Yeah? No? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, now we still have some very important changes, okay? The Remoet Stadium changes, which is the map that is played on Ranked, the 5v5 map, the standard one, and they change Zapdos and Dreadnought, so let's get into that as well. These are really the most meta-defining changes. Zapdos drops less energy when KO'd, so 20 to 15. So you will only get 15% of your Unite move replenished, I believe, is what this means, instead of 20%. Good change. Still, Zapdos, very, very strong. Oh, these are fire, not bad, huh? Maybe I should buy some of these shoes. Oh, yeah, babe, yeah, don't demonetize me, Jesus Christ. Hello? Anyway, guys, yeah, Zapdos, crazy, man. Still very strong, still the best objective in the game, of course. Nothing changed about the scoring. A lot of people complain about that. It becomes less of a problem in higher ranks, but in lower ranks this will still be really, really annoying to play against when the enemies get that Zapdos lucky steal and they completely win even though you were winning. That's not going to change, but yeah, a little bit of a step into the right direction, but really the babiest of baby steps, okay? Dreadnought, now this is good. Dreadnought gives less shield when KO'd, down to 8% maximum HP. Now, I don't know how much percent maximum HP it was. I believe it was 10, maybe it was 15, maybe it was 20, which would be a huge nerf, but I think it was 10 because it doesn't feel like it reduced the shield by a lot, but still 2% decrease or whatever it is. I'm just speculating again. You can let me know in the comments below if you know the exact value before the patch. But yeah, 8% maximum health is much less, man, very manageable to win a fight now after this. But the big thing is Dreadnought gives less experience points when KO'd, 880 to 660, which is literally a 25% nerf on that, which is very, very nice. That's very needed, man. Dreadnought was so broken because it gave everybody such a huge level lead on your team compared to the enemies, and that being nerfed is huge. Now, the Rotom also received a huge buff, so that's what makes this cross-map gameplay possible now, where you can pick a jungler like Absol and actually ignore the Dreadnought, because Absol is not the best team fighter. In a 5v5, Absol is kind of a loser, but in a 2v2, in a 1v1, Absol completely one-shots enemies. So you can just go into that Rotom top, push that, use the buffed Rotom, which hacks enemy goals for 25 seconds instead of 15 seconds, so you can push down into that tier 2 tower, score your points, take down 2 or even 3 Odinos on the enemy side, maybe the enemy buff as well, score once again. You have plenty of time now to farm more for that second score with this increased duration. So that is really, really nice on the Rotom. But not only that, because what was a big issue with Rotom is it wouldn't push fast enough, it wouldn't walk fast enough to the enemy point. This is also getting a buff, but it's getting such a cool buff, because not only Rotom's move speed gain a significant boost when it starts heading for a goal. Not only the move speed, so not only is it gonna walk faster to the goal, but also the attack and HP stat. So it's gonna be tankier to push down, and it's gonna deal more damage. So you can really use it as kind of a siege tank, where it's pushing forward and you can really try to win that fight at the tier 2 tower, which usually was never possible. I always said in every single gameplay, guys, look, we're making a huge mistake, we're overextending. Don't, after the Rotom, let it die. It's not worth pushing it down into the tier 2 tower. The enemies will use the healing from the tier 2 tower and will win the fight, and you will throw the game. This might change now. Again, I've seen Rotom actually be cracked out, deal some decent amount of damage whenever I tried it, pushing it down that tier 2 tower. So it could work extremely well, especially at 2v2 or something, skirmish. If you have that Rotom on your side, it will turn around to the tide of the battle. With that being said, this is already it, man. We went through the whole patch notes. Let me know if you want me to do this every single time that I get my hands on these detailed patch notes, on these actual changes. Let me know what you guys think about this patch. Are you a fan of it? Do you not like it? I personally think the changes are great. I think some of them are a little bit too conservative, like the Venusaur nerf, like the Zapdos nerf, like, yeah, and some of them are just missing. We need some buffs for Gardevoir, for example. But yeah, hey, make sure to subscribe, ring the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!